So
You
our theme for this Wednesday is set the target before you build the vision.
right. So January is not about rushing into action. I do have some notes over here, so if you see me look that way, I'm reading my notes. January is not about rushing into action. It's about slowing down enough to choose the right direction. The last few months we've been talking about just really setting the intention on not only reflecting on what happened in 2025, but really set, your sights on how you want things to go in 2026. Just because, we have gone through a lot in this last year. Things have been revealed. We've been on the struggle bus with certain times throughout the year, but we really want to
I
make
know
sure that
that.
all of those instances we're learning opportunities because we are still here. Everybody that's here has not given up on their dreams or their goals or their vision, but has taken those hard times and hopefully has learned from it. So what we want to do is really start putting intention into what direction we want this year to go. And you got to define it. You got to make sure that you write these things down. So every January, and I say every January, like we didn't just start this last January, is that we start off with a vision board workshop. We do have a vision board workshop coming in at the end of the month. So if you are in Atlanta, you are more than invited. I'm working on a virtual option. So then that way, people outside of Atlanta can chime in as well. So make sure you have
Yeah.
your stuff prepared. So I have five main talking points, and I'm going to try to get this done in the next 28 minutes. The first one is why clarity comes before manifestation. If you don't understand what manifestation is simply just being able to affirm and talk things into existence. Words hold so much power when it comes down to your personal life and your professional life. So, if you hear me speaking and sometimes I pause, it's literally my mind processing what I have said and what I should say. So then that way I say the right things, because it's so easy to say the wrong things. But when you really intend on saying the right things, so then that way you speak life into whoever or whatever you're speaking into, it goes that direction because there's so much power in your tongue. So you can't manifest what you haven't defined. Leading up into 2026, we have really talked about setting the intention on how you want 2026 to go, how you want your business to go, how you want your personal life to go. So you have to make sure that that is clear. What is it? Is
So what he's trying to say,
clear
hold up.
vision?
Let's backtrack it. Let me put it into simple terms, sir.
Simple
Choosing
people.
your direction instead of chasing everything, right? So we're entrepreneurs and we have like all of these things that we want to do, but being able to grab all of those things and being able to define all of the goals that we want is
Mhm.
the cream top of everything, right? Because
Yep.
if you're like, oh, I want to get more clients, I want to maintain clientele, I want to do more networking events, I want to do more events for the community and all this, and then you just leave it there, then we're not really doing anything. But being able to say, okay, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. And so how do I get to each and every one of the things? And then being able to cross those lists, right? So and knowing what works and what doesn't work, right? Because success is looks different and the success way looks different for everybody, but we can still be successful into the things that we would want for this 2026 and for the next, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years type of thing. Be able.
1000%. So if you aren't clear on writing these things down, I do recommend if you don't have a journal, that's why I like either have my iPad or I have paper all around me all the time. You could even use the notes on your phone. Make sure you are writing these things down. When you have a when you have an idea or you have a goal or vision or whatever it is, make sure you write it down first. You know, it may look crazy and all over the place, but at some point in time, set time apart that you can focus on that and defining it and breaking it down. What does these steps look like? How do I get there? Things like that. I mentioned earlier, like my goal is to retire at 40 or by 40, right? I don't want to have to work after that. I want to be able to enjoy all of the things that I've built up until then. Like I have the goal of having all of my entities on a larger piece of land, and I'm able to do everything that I need to do from that compound, right? Now, if that's my goal, that has been my goal literally for the past 10, 15 years. How do I get there? You know, so these things are written down. How do I get there? Now, over time, life does reveal things and which way to go. But as long as I have that major goal in mind, all of the smaller steps, all of the million steps that lead up into it, it really helps you progress into that. So you really have to make sure that your goal, your end goal is clear so that not only you can understand it, but when you explain these things to other people, like Ada and I were talking earlier, you can't be afraid to tell people what you want to do because that person might help you get to the next step. If I need financial help, I need to be able to talk to somebody and say, hey, I don't know how to crunch numbers. I don't know how to budget. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. In order for you to learn how to do it, you have to tell people that you don't know how to do it. So you have to make sure that you are unafraid to share what your
So
goals and dreams are. You got to
one
be clear
one of
about
the
it.
things that carries into this conversation is asking
Sorry.
yourselves whether that is on your personal level, and it should be on all levels. It should be on the personal level and the professional level. What needs to change to hit your next goal? Your next step and your next, like, oh, what if I do this? What if I do that? That hesitation that you feel, that is the next step. If you don't feel
Girl, bad.
scared, if you don't feel scared, if you don't feel nervous, if you're like, I'm unsure about this
Me,
or
child.
anything like that, that doesn't mean that, you're getting to the next step. You're getting to your next thing. So what needs to change to hit your next level? It could be from a grooming perspective. It could be letting go of the clients that do not want or are
Certainly
arguing
don't respect you.
your price changes or your policy changes, right?
Hmm.
So when I decided people that have not been in my salon for the past 90 days, which is 3 months, um they need to do a deposit. Some people were like, oh, well, I don't like that. Well, then you can go elsewhere because you're not coming to me in a consistent schedule. So therefore, I'm not making money off of you. So you can inconsistently be going somewhere else. Um,
For sure.
but yeah.
Argue their prices. Yeah.
That's a good
Argue
way to
their
put
price.
it.
Yeah. Um, now, in just talking about clarity, it does give your vision direction, boundaries, and purpose, especially that B word. So make sure you are okay with setting boundaries. If you don't allow people to negotiate your prices, don't allow people to tell you that you're this, you're that, I do this elsewhere, I'm going to go somewhere else. Okay. You got to be okay.
Great.
Be okay with saying no, be okay with losing people, be okay with going a different direction, be okay with putting your foot down. If you do not have a service agreement, if you don't have a policy, you know, make one,
Mhm.
have one, because that is going to be your guiding light on how your business is ran. That's going to make sure that you don't allow people to say and do and act whichever way that they want to act because it's your business, right? It's not their business, it's your business. They came to you. Okay, you didn't beg them to come through the doors. You didn't beg them
Same
to
Burger
book with
King.
you.
You can't
You
have
know,
it your
so
way.
it's like, look, I'm not going to allow you to dim my light. I'm not going to allow you to cloud my judgment. I'm not going to allow you to cloud my the clarity that I'm trying to put forth within my organization, right? So make sure that you are okay with setting your boundaries early. and you have it either written down, typed up, whatever, or in front of you to where you can easily communicate these things with people. It's frustrating for sure because people are absolutely crazy. But as long as you are good with communicating your boundaries,
We know that.
people have no choice but to stand by it. Um, Next would be, so we were talking about the vision board. Make sure if you haven't had the habit of creating a vision board, please try. See, just challenge yourself to make a vision board this month. If you haven't before, just challenge yourself to make a vision board this month. I have a vision board literally next to my grooming table, right?
Well, you can't
Well,
see it, but
we can't really see it, but
yep, it's
but she
here.
has one. I
Yep,
literally have my vision board from last year next to my grooming table. I spend so much time in my shop that it made sense to have it there, right?
I'm about to
I
put a
see
bed
it
in there.
every single day. I see it all the time. And literally things that are on that vision board happened. Now, one thing I will say before I get to the next point, right, is I did not have as much clarity on my vision board that I should have. So, funny thing, there's a Jeep Wrangler on my vision board because I wanted a Jeep, right? I wanted a Jeep. I still want a Jeep at some point in time. I wanted a Jeep. There's a Jeep Wrangler on my vision board. Now, my van broke down and my insurance company paid for a rental. My rental was a Jeep Wrangler. Okay. So I wasn't clear Jeep Wrangler. Now I have a
That's
Jeep Grand
progress.
Cherokee. It's something, right? It was something. It was towards that goal. Now you
Yeah.
have to be clear on what you want to do and what you want to have and the person that you want to be on your vision board because
So
what
adding
life
to
will do
that,
is make it extremely funny. Okay.
that part, so you need to build what fits your lifestyle, your beliefs, your body, your energy, your end goals. You can't just like you can't just go left field. Like I would love to put, a 10-acre house, in animals and all that stuff. That's what I would love. But do I know realistically that within 5 years that's somewhere that I could realistically get to? No, because there's other things that I would like to do beforehand. Hi,
So
baby.
be very intentional. What's up, kid? Be very intentional with how you said it because again, there's so much power in your words, but there's even
Hmm.
more power in belief. So whatever you believe is what's going to happen because that's what's guiding you to being who you are, how you communicate, how you portray yourself to the world, how you run your business, how you run your life. Okay, so you have
Yeah.
to believe in who you want to be and what you want to be in order to manifest these things. Because the universe, God, whichever entity you believe in, if you do believe in anything, like it's going to make way for whatever you want. So if you accept negativity, negativity is going to make its way to you. If you accept blessings and positivity, it's going to make its way to you. So you have to make sure that you are clear with your intentions into what you want to do. So that gets us into our next one, goals versus intentions. So goals are specific outcomes, numbers, milestones, achievements. Intentions are how you want to live, how you want to lead, and feel
Hmm.
of pursuing these goals. So you want to make sure that there are, you distinguish what your goals are versus what your intentions are. Because your goals will give structure while your intentions will give meaning. Um, and when you are setting your goals, when you are achieving and running after these things and you're given 110%, like we laughed earlier about being workaholics, but literally it's a way of life, honestly, because we are relentlessly going after these goals with the intention of achieving all of these things with how we feel and how we live and how we lead. Like you have to really set forth an intention about if I want to be successful in my life, I have to read more. If I want to learn how to communicate better, I have to listen to podcasts, or I have to read, or if I want to do better in my life, I have to exercise. I have to wake up at a certain time. I have to have these small habits. If you haven't read Atomic Habits, go ahead and read it. We read it about 2 years ago. We actually need to get the book club game back going. That was a good year. We read, we went through some books 2 years ago. But if you really have to set the intention about who you want to be in life, and that will make your goals easier to obtain and easier to achieve. So then now you can set your sights on a different goal. If you have not set goals for 2026, make sure that you do set goals, because otherwise you'll just live in this ambiguity of what am I supposed to do and who am I supposed to be, and I don't know how much I'm going to make, and all of these things. You're just going through the motions with life. But if you set a goal this year, I want to make $500,000 this year. What does that look like? And I'm going to be intentional about what does that look like?
I want to
What
make 1 million.
steps am I going? I mean, but you know that wasn't my goal. My goal is a little bit more is right. But if your goal is however much, like, or whatever it could be, you have to be intentional about your actions after that. You can't just say, I want to be a millionaire and do nothing. All right. Life rewards you through action. So you have to make
That's
sure
what
that
that's
you
why I added a
do
second
those things.
location and two more vans.
Yeah, she's wild. Okay. But I aspire to be like her. Okay. Because you have to put yourself around people who are going to challenge you. I tell you, she challenges me the most. Okay. Get you a
Amen.
hothead Latina around you. Okay. Yeah.
Amen,
Let me tell
sister.
you. Let me tell you.
We
Okay.
gang up on Wayne.
If
We
your
do.
blood pressure wasn't high before, it's going to be high.
It's all about the
Okay.
vote equal power. We make shit happen.
I,
Exactly.
I tell you. Okay. But I will say she is one of the most influential people, because now I have a goal of being like, hey, these are the things that I want to do. We were literally on the phone and she was telling me about everything that's going on. I was like, how do you do that? Now I can have those conversations with people who have done these things, who are there, because it's like, how do I do that? See you
Right.
later. So you have to make sure you're intentional about who you surround yourself with, and that way it just continues to put you in the right direction. When goals and intentions align, your progress feels sustainable, not stressful. It makes it fun. It makes the journey fun. It makes, things enjoyable at that point in time, because you're doing something that you have a lot more passion about, and you can see the light and things just get easier. Success seems to come easier, and you're making more, you're happier, you're lighter, you don't feel so weighed down with the stress. So just make sure that you are intentional about your goals, and the difference between the two. All right, we got 13 minutes. Let's get through these last three. All right, number three is focus on or choose 3 to 5 focus areas, not 20. I don't know who put that in my notes, but focus on so
You're
many
lying to
different
yourself if you believe you only have two or three ways.
Right. What
Because
kind of
I know for
delusional
myself,
BS are you
things.
talking about?
The way that my mind works is like it's so many bah, 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 right? That's why I showed y'all my to-do list, my notes, everything that's going on. Like there's so many different things that's happening, right? If you are in the beginning, right? Yeah, don't I want to do this. Let me tell you, there was so many things on my cards. When I first started, like, there had to be like at least like 10 to 15 different services on my basic cards that I was handing out to people. And I had to say, you know what, that's too much. Let's just focus on a few things: grooming, pet sitting, dog walking. That was it. Everything else that falls in that, cool. You can do more things within that. You can show yourself more valuable if you just like kind of ease things down and focus on certain things. Now, when you have too many goals, that may create confusion and burnout, because you're trying to achieve so many things at one time. Now, like me, you do get people around you that challenge you, but you can also delegate certain things because certain people have more strengths or have strengths in certain areas. Now, when you're starting out, you want to focus on what helps progress you. in your organization, your business, right? Now, when you focus on these things, that's what causes the momentum to go forward and get to where you need to be. Now, all of the things that I am building and all the things that I'm putting together, it it creates an ecosystem so it all works together. So you want to make sure that you are intentional about what you're building, because now it's like if I started a if I started a tow trucking business, Ada, Lanice, Tierra, Lita, Shan would all be like, Wayne, what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you starting another business that has nothing to do within the pet industry? Because one, I don't know anything about starting a tow trucking company, but yeah, I'm
Would
like,
be I
it
would be
makes money,
driving the six and a
you
half
know?
hours
Because
and be like, bro,
I'm not driving a tow truck, right? So it's
I would
like what
definitely
you
tell you
build,
no.
it has to make sense. You have to be intentional about what you're building. Now, if I invest in it, that's another thing. I'm not doing the work. But if I'm starting that, why are you doing that? You're taking time away from what God has given you so that you can really be who you need to be. If you want to use the money that you make to invest in other businesses, then cool. But right now, focus on what you're building. Now, if you want to try to figure out what those focus areas are, you got to ask yourself what helps the business grow, what creates financial stability, what really
I'll tell
increases
you what
my health
builds
and
trust and
energy,
confidence.
right? What, helps me be more confident, and that falls under personal development. And what really helps my relationships and my family, what helps me be happy, like what really
Stop
helps
people
me
pleasing.
be happy. you know don't ever put yourself in a situation to where you're giving more effort to something that does not make you happy. We only have one life to live, y'all. So you have to make sure that you are happy with what you do. This is
Right.
crazy. There's so many people that are so unhappy with what they're doing, and I'm like, that's why your life and your health is the way that it is. So you have to make sure that you are happy with what you're doing. That's anyway. Um, and remember, if everything is a priority, nothing is. So everything does not need to be a priority. I have things on my
No.
to-do list. That does not mean that everything gets done today. It gets done eventually, but it doesn't get done today. It's just
Right.
on the
Yes.
list. And I can
Eventually.
delegate these things eventually, right? All right. Number four, align your business goals with your life and energy. That's why ever since I was a kid, I always knew that I wanted to work with animals, but I just never knew where with animals I was going to go, right? Your business should support your life, not drain it. Okay. It should not drain it. So consider your energy, your capacity, and the season that you are in life when you are doing what you do. You can ask yourself, what does success look like for me right now? To me, I'm able to go to the shop and turn the lights on. That's success, because there are people that may not be able to turn their lights on. Okay. That's success. I'm able to say, hey, I have
Mm-hmm.
requests in my system. Okay. That's success. Okay. There are people that follow me on social media and want to book appointments or buy something that I'm selling online, or support the businesses that I'm affiliated with. That's success. So it really does not, your success is literally in your eyes. So it really just depends on what you deem successful. Okay. What am I willing and not willing to sacrifice? I'm not willing to sacrifice my time. I'm not willing to sacrifice peace. I'm not willing to sacrifice my health for something that I don't want to do, that does not serve me, that doesn't make me happy, that doesn't create peace or the life that I want. You have to really be intentional about the questions that you ask for yourself. So then that way you create the life that you want. Now, things do get hard. We are in reality. Okay, we're in the present. So in the future, yeah, things might be easier, but right now you have to be able to take care of yourself and ask these questions so that you can eventually get there and set yourself up. Because what's not working? Why do I feel this way? That may be a question that you ask yourself. So then that way you can continue to figure out what steps I need to make in order to be happy. But don't allow your present to dictate how you want your future to be. And I tell myself all the time, if I'm going through something that I don't necessarily like, it's only temporary. Okay. I'm not going to really like hold myself down or be too hard on myself. I'm hard on myself, but I'm not going to be too hard on myself. But it's like shit happens and it is what it is, but you
Yeah.
have to take those instances and be like, look, I'm learning from it. So then that way I can be better tomorrow. I can be better for those
What
who
you
look up to me.
mean?
Joy comes
Lenny
in the
said,
morning.
nah, baby girl, not for me. Uh-uh.
You gotta be careful because who's joy? I'm just playing.
Right?
All right.
You joy.
What not
One day at a
to
time.
put
Yep.
what not to put on your vision board. This is number 5. Um Pressure.
Y'all, who is Joy?
Who is joy? Who comes up? Anyway, all right. Um we we're friends outside of here in real life, okay? What not to put on your vision board. This is number 5. Pressure to be farther than you are. Remember, stop being so hard on yourself that you don't achieve and see the things that you want to accomplish in your life. Don't compare yourself to anybody else's timeline, okay? That is going to steal joy. Goals that are rooted in fear, scarcity, and external validation. You don't need external validation. You don't need to put yourself in a scarce environment, okay? You don't need to put yourself and surround yourself with people that are fearful of success. There are a lot of people that are scared to be successful, which is crazy to me because you'll be so much happier, especially when you acknowledge what success looks like to you. You'll be a lot happier. But there are people that are fearful when it comes down to being successful and fearful of achieving goals. And the last thing, what not to put on your vision board is unrealistic timelines that create stress instead of excitement. Now you can have your major goals for sure. That's in mind and what that may look like. But what do you want to accomplish in 2026? What do you want to accomplish this year? What is the acronym that I am looking for? SMART goals. There we go. What are the SMART goals that you can set this year so that you can literally attain all of these things? Because if you start putting goals or your vision on something and they're big, big goals, and you don't accomplish those big, big goals, you start to be too hard on yourself because you didn't accomplish those big goals. So you can have the bigger goal in mind, but make sure you are putting some smaller goals. What do you want to accomplish today? That might be
But
reading 5
also,
pages.
also a good argument would be is, okay, let's say you have one gigantic goal, right?
Yeah.
For the year, let's call it that. So what are the steps that you need to take and make those the smaller goals, whether that's daily, weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, or every
Thank y'all
so
for following.
often. So don't be scared to also set bigger goals that have tiny goals in between. Let's say you want to get a new car, right? Well,
Mhm.
how much is that car and how can you get to it? And
How
what are
many
the things
dogs
that
does
you
that look like?
could, right? How many dogs do you have to groom? Because sometimes when you break that down, then it doesn't look so scary.
Yeah.
And also, when you write down and put it up, it also is a reminder of sometimes put in the goal of, did you wake up and brush your teeth and took a shower? And did you take a day off in your calendar? Did you take a minute to reflect the matter of the fact that you got up that morning and you were
Hmm.
able to make your coffee and have breakfast and wake up with, oh shit, yeah, I can have that goal. Even though yesterday I stayed in bed all day and I was unmotivated, today I woke up and I took an extra step towards that goal. Sometimes we forget about the smaller little things that we have to achieve in order to achieve the bigger things.
Bigger thing
And this was
for sure.
something that we were just talking about before we hopped on this, was is how did I achieve a second location? Which a lot of people don't know about. So in a couple weeks we'll be opening up a second location. It's because it took me almost 7 years plus well, at this point, almost 10 years, 10 to 12 years to be able to own my own land and building. And so that took us to the next step. And the one poor mobile unit that I bought for $5,000 that's sitting on the back of that led us to have two other ones that we're building out. So it if you would have asked 13-year-old me when I got into trouble and they said, you can either do community service or you can do some juvie time. And I said, community service, what do I do? Oh, you have to go train dogs, or you have to go walk dogs and pick up poop. And I was like, okay, I can do that. I would have never guessed that 30-year-old me would be standing where I am today. And sometimes you need to get humbled and be like, did
Mhm.
you wake up? Did you choose yourself today? And did you control the calendar and your time so you can enjoy yourself and then go make that $1 million? So sometimes we also have to think about
Mhm.
the little things. And I tell my students, like, sometimes it's hard. I have students that have lived in the parking lot I was in. They rented an RV and slept in it. I have students that have slept in their car, took a shower at, the gym nearby and showed up to my classroom after working an overnight shift. And sometimes those things I celebrate it. I celebrate it. You showed up today. You showed up, then you gave it your 100%. So yes, it's important for us to have set goals, but in between those set goals and those bigger goals, remember that we're human. And remember
Sure.
that showing up tonight for us um is a first step, and we appreciate you guys for staying with us and doing all of that. So
Sure
I
we
just want to
do.
make sure that we're also putting our step forward, because one of the things that we also talk about a lot is our self-care and our things. And in order for us to make those vision and mission goals that we have, we can't forget about the person that's making them, and why we're making them, right? Is because it's our hopes, our goals, and our dreams, and everything we stand for, because we love what we do. We love working with animals, but we also have to make money, and
Yeah.
have our con- controlled time away from. That was a really big theme that we had the last couple months between October and December, was setting those boundaries and making sure that we could enjoy those little
Right.
steps that take us to a bigger goal.
One thousand
Those are my two
percent.
cents. Yeah.
This is why this is why she helps me out with this. She get it. She get it, you know.
Oh, damn.
Um,
Mhm.
so I got three questions for you. I got five questions for you.
See,
So you could ask
this man don't
yourself.
know how to count.
No, I had to keep reading. So I got five questions for you. Uh, what do you truly want this year? These are things that you ask yourself. What do you truly want this year? What are you ready to let go so that you can get to where you want to be? What does a successful year feel like and look like to you? Um, and these are all things like in preparation of your vision board. What do you want more or less this year? And what area in your life or your business needs the most clarity right now? Like, what can you break down so that you can get the most clarity within um, either area of your life? So I want you to definitely think about those things, and it'll just help you move the needle to where you want to be. Um,
Absolutely.
because in closing, a clear target, so the clear target makes every step forward easier, and set the target first and then build a vision around it. All right. So you got to know where you're going in order to get there. You can't just be like, I'm just going to do it and just wing it. Like, no, we too old to be winging it. Now, I've never been this age before. So that part I'm winging. I'm trying to figure it out. But when it comes to business, I need a goal. Okay. I need a goal. I need somewhere. I need to know where I'm going. All right. So what do I truly want this year? I keep saying where. What do I truly want this year? What am I ready to let go this year? What does a successful year feel and look like to me? What do I want more or less in 2026? And what area in my life or business needs the most clarity or needs to be clarified? Okay. Um, yeah. So you're welcome. I'm going to stop recording.
I want to address a question.